Ladies and gentlemen, success does not come to those who merely wish for it, or wait for it, or hope for it. Success bows only to those who earn it, and it is earned through effort. Every great fortune, every invention, every towering structure of success you admire, was first a thought, but it was effort that gave that thought life. You may have the most brilliant idea in the world, but until you act upon it with relentless drive, it will remain what it is, only an idea. Effort is the price tag attached to every worthwhile reward. The individual who understands this law, who is willing to pay in full, in advance, with persistence, with labor, with sacrifice, that individual commands their own destiny. There is no secret to success that does not begin with a definite aim and a willingness to pursue it with intensity. Effort must be repeated day after day, hour after hour, often in the face of discouragement, fatigue, and defeat. But it is through this struggle that character is forged and success is earned. Many people turn back at the first sign of resistance. They confuse temporary defeat with permanent failure. But those who win in life are those who learn to press on, who understand that every challenge is a test of will, and every obstacle is an invitation to grow stronger. When you labor with purpose, when you give your best and then a little more, the world takes notice. Doors open, opportunities arise, not by chance but by cause, and the cause is effort. You cannot hire someone to do your push-ups for you. You cannot delegate your dreams. You alone must rise and strive. And the beautiful truth is, if you will commit to give more than you expect to receive, to serve before you are served, to grow before you are rewarded, success becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Success is not reserved for the lucky. It is not a matter of circumstance. It is the child of effort, and effort is within your control. Therefore, if you desire greatness, let your efforts rise to meet it. Give, do, act, move, and let the world reward your efforts with the success you have earned. Success begins not in the hands, but in the mind. It is born as a clear and definite purpose, a fixed star in the mental sky, a vision that burns within the soul of the individual who dares to believe that life can be more than what it appears to be. No one has ever risen to greatness by accident. Every towering achievement, every monumental success, every life that stands as a beacon of excellence began with a clear, unwavering decision, a definiteness of purpose. The human mind is the workshop where all plans, dreams, and desires are first shaped. It is here that success is first forged, and it is also here that failure begins when purpose is not clear. A wandering mind produces wandering results. The scattered ambition bears scattered outcomes, but when the mind is concentrated, when it is held in firm focus on one chief aim, it gains power. It draws strength from the very intensity of its own clarity. To have a definite purpose is to plant a seed in the soil of the universe, but this seed does not sprout without nurture. The moment you decide upon a goal with conviction, not a casual wish, not a vague hope, but a burning desire so real you can feel it in your chest, the forces of nature begin to organize around your thought. Thought, when mixed with faith and backed by action, becomes a living force, but it must begin with that fixed idea, that definite purpose that defines what you want, why you want it, and the price you're willing to pay to have it. Most people fail not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they drift. They float from one job to another, one idea to another, one goal to another, never deciding upon a central mission for their lives. They wake up and let the day decide what happens next. But those who succeed, those who rise to the heights of influence and legacy, are those who have made a firm decision about who they are, what they want, and how they will pursue it. When definiteness of purpose takes hold of the mind, it activates the will. It gives birth to resilience. Challenges no longer seem like roadblocks. They become part of the path. Distractions lose their appeal. Time becomes a precious currency spent only on what matters most. Life becomes intentional, and intention, when fused with persistence, becomes unstoppable. There is a mysterious power in the universe that seems to align itself with those who are committed to a definite purpose. It is not magic, It is not luck. It is the natural response of a world that rewards those who know what they want and move toward it with full devotion. You will find people, resources, and opportunities begin to appear not because they weren't there before, but because your purpose has sharpened your awareness. Your mind, like a magnet, starts pulling in the pieces needed to complete the vision you carry within. The mind, when left to wander, is a slave to circumstance, but the mind, when anchored by a burning desire and a definite aim, becomes the master of circumstance. It no longer reacts to life, it directs life. It chooses the course, sets the sail, and adjusts when storms arrive, but it never forgets the destination. That is the power of purpose. To develop this inner clarity requires deep thought, it demands reflection. It calls you to look beyond the noise of the world, beyond the opinions of others, and ask yourself the most powerful question a person can ask. What do I truly want? Not what someone else wants for you. Not what looks good on paper, but what sets your soul on fire. What vision would make your life feel worthwhile? What goal would bring meaning to your days and courage to your heart? When you find the answer to that question, write it down. Make it specific, make it real, then read it every day. Speak it aloud. Let it become part of your daily rhythm. Let it soak into your thoughts until it becomes as natural as breathing. For what the mind repeats, the mind believes. And what the mind believes, it will eventually achieve if effort follows thought. Do not fear having a big purpose. Fear having none at all. The size of your dream is not your burden. Your burden is the absence of direction. A small boat can travel far if it has a compass. A great ship will drift aimlessly without one. Your purpose is your compass. It is your guiding star. It tells you where to go, how to move, and when to say no. It gives you discipline not through force, but through desire. You do not need to be pushed when you are being pulled by a clear purpose. There are those who wait for inspiration, who hope life will show them the way. But the truth is, life waits for you to decide. Life responds not to vague intention, but to definite determination. Say what you want, mean what you say, and move with resolve. That is the beginning of all achievement. Definiteness of purpose is not rigid. It allows for growth, for refinement, for change in strategy, but the essence must remain clear. You may adjust your methods, but never your mission. You may face delays, but never let them turn into detours. Hold fast to your vision even when the winds blow against you, even when the night is long. The light of your purpose will guide you through. Many people confuse activity with progress. They work hard but go nowhere. They are busy but not effective. The reason is simple. They lack purpose. Their energy is scattered, their time divided, their results minimal. But when a person harnesses all their energy in the direction of a single burning desire, they move mountains. They become a force of nature. Their presence inspires. Their focus commands respect. They do not need to shout, for their life speaks loudly. The moment you decide upon a chief aim and commit yourself to it without reservation, you trigger a transformation. You are no longer the same person. You become organized within. Your thoughts align, your emotions stabilize, your actions become meaningful, and the world, sensing your inner change, begins to respond accordingly. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to know the direction. Purpose provides the direction. It tells you when to say yes and when to say no. It protects you from distraction. It guards you against the seduction of shortcuts and the traps of comparison. It frees you from the tyranny of indecision. Purpose gives you strength. It becomes your reason to rise early, to stay up late, to endure discomfort, to face failure and keep moving. When others quit, you persist. When others doubt, you believe, not because you are superhuman, but because your purpose means more to you than your fear. Definiteness of purpose is the beginning of all greatness. It is the foundation upon which effort builds. It is the fire that fuels discipline. It is the anchor that holds you steady in the storm, and it is the light that will lead you to the success you were born to claim. Success is not something that falls into one's lap by chance or fortune. It is not a favor granted by fate. Success is earned, forged, built, brick by brick through effort, and effort, consistent and deliberate, becomes the bridge between the world of imagination and the realm of tangible achievement. No dream ever made itself real, no desire ever materialized without work. Every aspiration that becomes reality has been carried across the chasm of doubt and difficulty by the steady footsteps of effort. Effort is the great equalizer. It does not care where you were born, what you have, or what you lack. It makes no distinction between the privileged and the underprivileged, the educated and the uneducated, the fortunate and the forgotten. It is available to all, and it rewards all who employ it with sincerity and purpose. No one can stop the man or woman who puts forth effort each day, who strives while others sleep, who moves forward while others remain still. Thought is the beginning of all achievement, but thought without action is powerless. You may sit in silence and envision the grandest future. You may write down goals and recite affirmations. But until you take action, until you rise from your seat and do something, those dreams remain suspended in the clouds. Effort pulls them down to earth. Effort shapes them. Effort gives them form. There is a tragic delusion that some people carry the belief that greatness is the result of talent alone. Talent without effort is wasted. Potential without work is meaningless. Many people are buried with gifts still in them because they refuse the effort necessary to bring them forth. The road to success is not paved by talent but by toil. It is not intelligence alone that builds empires. It is the tireless work of the individual who commits to doing more than is expected, who labors long after comfort would tell them to stop. Effort is not always glamorous. It is often lonely. It requires discipline when no one is watching. It demands consistency in the absence of applause. But it is through such invisible moments that the foundation of success is laid. The world only sees the results, the trophy, the title, the recognition, but behind every visible triumph lies countless hours of unseen effort. No one can escape the law of sowing and reaping. What you plant in the soil of time through effort, you will eventually harvest. You may not see the fruit immediately, but the roots grow deep while the world waits. A farmer does not dig up the seeds to check their progress. He waters them, he protects them, and he trusts that effort, applied over time, yields results. The same law governs success. You must become a worker, not in the sense of laboring without thought, but in the sense of being willing to put in the energy required to make your desires real. Every step you take forward in the direction of your dreams matters. Every small task, when done with excellence, contributes to the bigger picture. Even when no one else sees, the universe sees, your effort counts. There will be times when effort feels futile. You will work hard and see no immediate reward. You will stretch and strain and still feel like you are in the same place. But success is not always visible in its early stages. Sometimes the work is not building the dream, it is building you. It is forging your patience, your resilience, your courage. The person you become in the process of effort is far more powerful than the prize you may receive at the end. Effort trains your mind to overcome resistance. It strengthens your will. It builds the character necessary to sustain the success you are working for. Without effort, success would destroy the unprepared. But when you earn success through labor, you are able to hold it, protect it, and expand it because you have become the kind of person capable of doing so. It is not enough to want something. Wanting is not working. You must pursue it. You must show up for it every day, whether you feel like it or not. You must act not once, not occasionally, but persistently. The bridge of effort is not built overnight, but every time you act in alignment with your vision, you add another stone to that bridge. Eventually, your footsteps cross from hope into fulfillment. You cannot wait for conditions to be perfect. You cannot wait until you feel motivated. The successful act in spite of circumstances. They understand that conditions are rarely ideal, and so they press on regardless. This is the secret of progress, beginning now where you are with what you have and doing the best you can today, then doing it again tomorrow. Do not be discouraged by slow progress. The pace does not matter when you are moving forward. Even the smallest step is a victory over stagnation. A single act of effort today places you ahead of thousands who are still waiting for the right moment. The right moment is now. The right time is the one you create through action. Every great achievement was once far away. Every success story began in obscurity, in struggle, in silence. But those who achieved did so because they kept moving, they kept building, they gave more effort than others were willing to give, and in time their reality caught up with their vision. The bridge of effort is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those who decide that no matter how far the dream may seem, they will keep building. They will keep laying one stone at a time. They will get up when they fall, begin again when they fail, and persist when others turn away. Because they understand that every drop of sweat brings them closer, every sacrifice carries meaning, and every hour of labor is an investment in the life they are creating. You must commit to the process. You must embrace the effort, not once, not when it is easy, but continuously, because success does not respond to what you want, it responds to what you work for. It answers to those who show up again and again, who keep their eyes on the prize while their hands are in the dirt. Do not envy the results of others. Study their effort. Admire not the outcome, but the discipline that created it. For in effort lies the truth, the measure of one's commitment, the depth of one's desire, and the certainty of one's destiny. Effort is the only currency that buys transformation. It is the only tool capable of reshaping the self. When you give it freely, when you invest it wisely, it multiplies. It pays you back with growth, with strength, and eventually with success. And so, if you have a dream, if you hold a vision of a better life, do not sit still, do not wait, move, begin, work, let your effort speak. Let it build the bridge that leads from your current life to the one you were meant to live. Success is not reserved for the lucky or the chosen few. It is the rightful reward of those who believe in themselves with unwavering conviction and continue to press forward, regardless of obstacles. Faith and persistence are the twin pillars upon which all true success stands. Without faith, effort weakens at the first sign of resistance. Without persistence, dreams dissolve into memory. But when these two forces are joined together in a determined mind, they create a power that no opposition can destroy. Faith is more than hope. Hope wishes. Faith knows. Faith does not beg for opportunity, it prepares for it. It acts as though the outcome is certain, even when no evidence exists. Faith is not blind optimism. It is a deep inner knowing, a certainty that if you continue to give your best, the result must come. It is the voice inside that whispers, "Keep going," even when everything around you says to stop. Every person who has ever accomplished anything worthwhile has faced moments of doubt, failure, and hardship. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is not circumstance, but belief. Faith holds the vision steady when reality begins to shake. It keeps the mind focused when fear begins to creep in. It is the source of courage when comfort tempts you to turn back. But faith alone is not enough. Faith must be married to persistence. Persistence is the expression of belief through action. It is the repeated decision to keep moving forward, even when progress seems invisible. It is showing up day after day, task after task, moment after moment without applause, without reward, without recognition, because you have decided in advance that quitting is not an option. Persistence is not glamorous. It is quiet. It is internal. It is the discipline to do what needs to be done when no one is watching. It is the ability to endure rejection, ignore ridicule, withstand fatigue, and continue when others have given up. Persistence is not about intensity, it is about consistency. Many can act with passion for a day, but only the persistent can endure the grind of months and years. Faith fuels the spirit, persistence builds the future. Together they form the engine of all success, the man or woman who keeps going, who believes without wavering, who presses on when others quit. That person becomes unstoppable. The world eventually makes way for the one who refuses to be denied. No one escapes hardship on the path to success. There will be setbacks, there will be disappointments. There will be times when nothing makes sense and everything feels unfair. But if you persist, you will rise. If you continue, you will grow. You will find that every failure was preparing you, every delay was refining you, every trial was shaping the strength you now possess. Faith and persistence transform ordinary individuals into forces of greatness. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to be the most talented, the most connected, or the most gifted. What you need is belief in your purpose and the willingness to pursue it until the very end. The world bends to those who refuse to bend under pressure. When the mind is saturated with faith, it becomes immune to discouragement. When the heart is armed with persistence, it overcomes every resistance. These two qualities do not guarantee a life without challenge. They guarantee that no challenge will be final. And that is the true secret of those who rise. They never stopped believing, and they never stopped trying. Success will test your belief, it will measure your persistence, but if you stand firm, if you keep acting, keep striving, keep pushing, your reward is not only the achievement of your goal, but the person you become through the pursuit. Faith will carry you through the storms, and persistence will carry you across the finish line. Success never comes wrapped in comfort. It arrives dressed in adversity, masked in failure, and disguised as defeat. Every person who has reached the summit of success has first walked through the valley of setbacks. Temporary defeat is not a sign to turn back. It is a challenge meant to test the strength of your desire and the depth of your resolve. It is not failure that stops most people. It is the misunderstanding of failure. Defeat is not the end. It is merely an interruption in the journey, a lesson wrapped in difficulty, a necessary detour on the road to mastery. Too many people give up when faced with resistance. They interpret a closed door as a final answer, when in truth it is only a redirection. The world does not yield easily to ambition. It resists at first, to separate the dreamers from the doers, the curious from the committed. If success were handed out without struggle, it would have no value. But when you earn it, when you fight for it, when you rise above temporary defeat with persistence and faith, you claim a victory that no one can take from you. There is a secret hidden in every failure. It is not obvious to the one who is discouraged, but it is there for the one who chooses to look deeper. Temporary defeat forces you to ask better questions. It sharpens your vision. It demands creativity. It makes you stronger, tougher, more adaptable. It breaks the weak parts of you so the strong parts can take over. Without defeat, there is no refinement. Without resistance, there is no strength. Success is built on the foundation of lessons learned from falling down and getting back up. Each time you fall, you are offered a choice: stay down or rise again with greater wisdom. Most choose the former. They tell themselves the path wasn't meant for them, that the goal was too big, that they were unlucky or unqualified. But the few, the rare few, choose to stand up again. They accept the defeat, but not as a definition. They take the lesson, but never let it become a limit, and these are the ones the world calls successful in the end. Temporary defeat reveals what you truly want. Anyone can claim to desire success. But only those who continue after being knocked down prove that desire is real. Defeat strips away illusion. It demands that you recommit, that you clarify your purpose, that you strengthen your will. It offers you the opportunity to rise, not in spite of difficulty, but because of it, and in rising you become more than what you were. Greatness is not a straight line. It is jagged, unpredictable, and often cruel in its trials. But those very trials carry the seeds of transformation. The person who endures defeat and continues forward gains something far more powerful than external achievement. They gain inner mastery. They develop the unshakable mindset that no matter what happens, they will not stop. And in time, that attitude bends the world to their will. Do not fear defeat. Fear giving it more meaning than it deserves. Fear quitting. Fear regret. But do not fear failure, because failure, when embraced, is your teacher. It shows you what doesn't work so you can find what does. It exposes your weak points so you can build new strength. It clears the illusions so you can see the truth of what it takes to win. Temporary defeat is the price of eventual triumph. It is not a wall but a test. The question it asks is simple. How bad do you want it? If your answer is anything less than more than anything, then defeat will have the final word. But if your answer is clear, burning, and absolute, then defeat becomes nothing more than a stepping stone. Those who succeed are those who failed more times than others dared to try. They were rejected, misunderstood, overlooked, but they kept going. They turned every no into a new effort, every setback into a comeback. The world tried to stop them, but they would not be stopped. That is the spirit that turns temporary defeat into permanent success. When you face a setback, remember this: it is not the end of your story. It is a chapter of your becoming. It is the fire that forges your strength. Keep moving forward, not because it's easy, but because you have decided that your purpose matters more than your pain. Keep working, keep believing, and keep rising, again and again, until what once stood in your way becomes the very ground beneath your feet. Every great achievement begins with a single step, and that step is a decision. A decision to act, to move, to pursue despite fear, despite uncertainty, despite the unknown. Action is the lifeblood of progress. It is the fire that transforms thought into results. Without action, even the most brilliant ideas remain trapped in the mind, buried beneath layers of hesitation and doubt. The world rewards action, not intention. It moves for those who move first, for those who dare to do something while others are still waiting. Far too many people live in a state of preparation. They wait for the right moment, the perfect condition, the ideal opportunity. They study, plan, analyze, but never execute. They become masters of potential and prisoners of inaction. But success is never built in theory. It is carved out of reality, shaped by motion. It is not the most educated or the most talented who rise, but those who act with courage and consistency. Action is the bridge between your current circumstances and your future reality. No matter how far your goal may seem, every step you take brings it closer. The law of momentum is simple. Movement creates more movement. When you begin, even with small steps, you stir the forces of progress. You awaken possibilities. You invite opportunities that were invisible to the idle mind. Action creates clarity. It reveals what works, what doesn't, what needs to change. You cannot adjust the direction of a ship that isn't moving. Every time you act, you gain an edge. You gain knowledge through experience. You gain strength through repetition. You develop confidence by proving to yourself that you are capable of doing hard things. Action builds belief. It turns theory into truth. The more you do, the more you become. You transform yourself not through what you hope for, but through what you do again and again. The great enemy of action is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But fear only has power over the one who stands still. The moment you move, its grip begins to loosen. Action dissolves fear. It replaces imagination with experience. What you feared before becomes familiar, manageable, even conquerable, and with each step you begin to see that the monsters in your mind were nothing but shadows. Discipline is the companion of action. Motivation may start the fire, but it is discipline that keeps it burning. Discipline says, do it anyway. Discipline shows up even when the mood is gone, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching. Those who wait for the right feeling to act will be waiting forever. Those who act regardless of feeling will win every time. There is a profound difference between activity and action. Activity is motion without meaning. It's busy work that leads nowhere, but purposeful action, aligned with a clear goal, compounded over time, creates transformation. It is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. The right action, taken consistently, is more powerful than 1,000 good intentions. Success requires that you become a person of action, Not someday, but today. Not when it's easy, but now. Decide, begin, take the first step and then the next. Do what others won't, move when others hesitate. You may not have all the answers, you may not feel ready, but readiness is built through action, not waiting. The act of beginning is often the greatest victory. The rest unfolds in the doing. You will make mistakes. You will fall short. You will face rejection, confusion, and doubt, but these are not reasons to stop. They are signs that you are alive in the pursuit. The one who acts gains feedback. The one who remains still gains nothing but regret. Regret for the chances not taken, the dreams not chased, the time wasted in hesitation. Every goal you have ever dreamed of is waiting on the other side of action, not luck, not permission, not perfect timing. Just action, deliberate, focused, repeated action. It may not be easy and it may not be fast, but it will be worth it. Because with every action, you are not only creating your future, you are becoming the kind of person who can live in it. So act now, act boldly, let your actions speak louder than your fears, let them define your commitment, express your belief, and build your legacy. The difference between the person you are and the person you want to become is not time, it is action. And the moment you decide to move, everything begins to change.